Welcome to The Explainer. Right now, as we speak, a massive and frankly devastating threat to both global agriculture and human health is unfolding across the African continent. It's called Rift Valley fever, and if you want to understand the incredibly fragile boundaries between environmental shifts and global health, well, you're absolutely in the right place. Let's get into it. Okay, I want you to picture a number in your head, 81. That is the number of pregnant animals lost in just one single recent outbreak event over in Malawi. Just let that sink in for a second. 81 future generations of a local farm's herd just completely wiped out in an instant. This single fact really highlights the sheer sudden scale of loss that rural farming communities are facing. We're talking about an escalating animal crisis that leaves absolute economic ruin in its wake. So, you gotta ask yourself, what could possibly wipe out an entire herd practically overnight? I mean, what kind of biological culprit operates with that level of terrifying efficiency? The answer is a virus that, honestly, you've probably never even heard of. But it is currently flashing bright red on the radar of global health authorities. It's known as Rift Valley fever, or RVF. It's what scientists call a mosquito-borne viral zoonosis. And if you aren't familiar with that term, a zoonosis basically means we're dealing with a pathogen that has the ability to jump directly from animals to humans. It was actually first identified way back in 1931 during an investigation among sheep in Kenya's iconic Rift Valley. But to truly understand how we can stop this virus today, we first have to understand the science of how it survives. And the way it survives is, well, it's honestly terrifying. RVS belongs to the fleabovirus genus, and let me tell you, it is an absolute master of patience. Think of it like a biological time bomb. Step 1, infected Aedes mosquitoes pass the virus directly into their eggs. Step 2, those infected eggs can just sit there, completely dormant in bone-dry soil, for up to 5 years. They literally just wait. Then, step 3, extreme weather rolls in with heavy floodwaters. The land floods, and in a matter of days, billions of infected mosquitoes hatch simultaneously. The outbreak explodes out of absolutely nowhere. Because of that massive simultaneous hatching, these outbreaks are incredibly sudden. And this isn't just theory. The recent data grounds this biology in a really terrifying reality. In Senegal, an outbreak resulted in 536 confirmed human cases and 31 deaths. Mauritania faced an outbreak with 50 cases and 14 fatalities. And like we mentioned, Malawi is actively fighting an escalating crisis right now. This is not some historical curiosity, guys. This is a current, active crisis sweeping across diverse regions. Now, when this virus actually strikes a herd, veterinarians use this incredibly intense clinical term to describe the reproductive toll. They call it an abortion storm. I know, it sounds dramatic, maybe even a bit like a horror movie. But it is a precise clinical description of the absolute devastation Rift Valley fever inflicts. When an abortion storm hits, massive numbers of pregnant animals lose their young all at the exact same time. But here's a really fascinating and tragic twist. The lethality of this virus actually depends heavily on the breed of the animal. For indigenous livestock, animals that have adapted to the local environment over centuries, the abortion rate hovers around 30%. But for exotic or crossbreeds, which are specifically brought in to boost milk or meat production, that rate hits nearly 100%. Entire generations of carefully bred livestock simply vanish in a matter of days. But hey, we have to remember that behind every single one of these veterinary statistics is a very real human cost. Take Felicity Tale, for example. She's a dairy farmer in Malawi who recently lost her cow to the virus, and now she's desperately pleading with local authorities for vaccines to save the rest of her herd. Her entire economic survival literally hangs in the balance right now. When an abortion storm sweeps through, it brings localized economic collapse straight to the doorsteps of farmers who are already operating on razor-thin margins. And the economic damage? It actually goes way beyond the lost pregnancies. There's another medical term we need to look at, dysgalactia. Basically, this means that even if an animal survives the infection, their milk production completely stops. Think about the ripple effect of that. In regions where over 183,000 people live in high-risk zones, dysgalactia completely paralyzes the local dairy economy. We aren't just talking about lost income anymore. This threatens immediate food security and nutrition for entire communities. Shifting gears a bit, what's truly fascinating about Rift Valley fever is how it totally flips the script on what we expect from mosquito-borne diseases. Usually, with something like malaria or dengue, the big danger is the mosquito bite itself, right? But with RVF, the human infection route is way more visceral. According to the WHO and FAO, the vast majority of human infections actually happen through direct contact with infected animal blood, organs, or aborted fetal fluids. And that specific, highly visceral transmission route leads us to a staggering statistic: 91%. In a recent outbreak in Mauritania, researchers found that 91% of human infections were male. Why? Well, because this statistic is a direct mirror of the agricultural workforce demographics in the region. This virus is a severe occupational hazard. The people getting sick are the farmers, the veterinarians, and the slaughterhouse workers who are physically getting their hands dirty, assisting in births, managing miscarriages, or processing meat.
Okay, take a breath. Because amidst all this devastation, there is one incredibly critical piece of good news. There is absolutely zero documented human-to-human transmission of Rift Valley fever. The virus literally stops with the individual human. This is a game changer, because it means that if we can successfully manage and ring-fence the outbreak within the animal populations, we can completely protect human populations from the disease. Animal health is quite literally the ultimate shield for human health.
And all of this ties perfectly into a massive concept in modern science known as One Health. If you haven't heard of it, One Health is the framework understanding that human health is inextricably linked to the health of animals and our shared environment. Rift Valley fever is the ultimate case study for this, right? You have environmental health with the extreme weather and floodwaters, you have animal health with the livestock being decimated, and you have human health with the farmers getting infected. You simply cannot solve one without addressing the other two. So you might be wondering, if protecting animals is the key, why is the virus still spreading? Well, the answer lies in systemic human factors. A recent study in Uganda showed a lack of localized names for the virus, which obviously makes it hard to identify. But even more than that, it's driven by fear. Farmers are terrified that if they report an abortion storm, it's going to trigger immediate government trade bans and quarantines, totally destroying their income. So desperation kicks in. To cut their losses, farmers might stay silent, secretly slaughter a sick animal for meat, and then inadvertently infect themselves. It's this tragic behavioral loop of fear and silence that allows the virus to spread unchecked. So how do we break that loop? Global health experts point to three really crucial actionable solutions. First up, medical intervention. This is exactly why the WHO has activated core protocols for human vaccine trials. Second, we absolutely have to implement no-blame reporting protocols. We need to provide financial safety nets so farmers are economically incentivized to report animal miscarriages right away, rather than hiding them. And third, we need advanced climate early warning systems. Because think about it, if we can predict the floodwaters, we can predict the mosquito hatchings, and we can pre-position veterinary teams before the storm even hits. As we wrap up this explainer, I want to leave you with a really powerful thought to chew on. We are only as safe as our most vulnerable livestock populations. This whole thing isn't just about farming in distant regions. It is about our interconnected global ecosystem. And it leaves us with a truly provocative question. Given our rapidly changing climate and the crazy increase in extreme weather events, what other dormant threats are buried in the soil right now, just waiting for the rain? Thank you so much for joining me, and stay curious.